Niners.
Sactown Sports.
Yeah, the way things have been going for the 49ers, this passes as really good injury news. Fred Warner day-to-day, Conley, Cowing, Kittle, Juszczyk, Elliott, all day-to-day. So, typically with the 49ers, it's been so much worse this year. CMC, who knows? But the 49ers are coming off a win. And with more on that, maybe you can help us figure out whether the 49ers season is back on track or anywhere close to that. 49ers Gold Standard Network pod host, Rob Stats Guerrara. How are you today, Rob?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, help us out here. What positives were you able to glean from that win over the pesky Patriots? And do you think 49er fans should be feeling like, hey, this thing is back on track or anything close to it?
Well, let me just say that the Patriots were the absolute perfect team for the 49ers to play because they stink on ice.
Yeah.
They couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie. They are terrible. But to the 49ers' credit, they did what you should do against a terrible team, right? They dominated the line of scrimmage. They harassed Jacoby Brissett all day long. They scored 30 points. So, everybody feels good about a win, and you never have to apologize for a win. But I'm also not here to say that, everything is fixed and the 49ers are back as the favorites in the NFC.
Hey, Rob, what do you see as, some of the issues that have creeped up through the first 4 weeks? We know injuries. People say the defense, which is a broad thing. What are you seeing?
Well, on each side of the ball, we'll start with the defense. They cannot get off the field on third down. Even when it's third and long, they constantly give it up. And it's concerning because that's the situation that you fight and scratch and claw to get into as a defense, is third down and long. So you can rush the passer, you can pull out your exotic defenses and confuse guys and really make it hard for the offense to sustain drives. Except the 49ers do none of that. They don't really rush the passer well on third down, and they are before Sunday's game, they were among the league worst in terms of defenses on third down. So that is something that they absolutely need to get straightened out on defense. On offense, they're having a lot of problems in the red zone. They're moving the ball just fine between the 20-yard line, but once they get down there, they haven't really been able to cash it in consistently for 6, and they were among the league leaders last year in that area. That's where they really miss Christian McCaffrey the most. And that is the one thing offensively that they need to get straightened out.
Rob Stats Guerrara with us. CMC. Okay, I know that he may not know what his status is. I get that. But it's driving me crazy, Rob, that every day there's something in it additional, and it's worse than what we heard before. And yet the company line and the media just gets right in line with him is, oh, yeah, well, he should be back soon, and he's okay. I mean, what do you make of this situation where every day it's like, well, it's his calf. Now it's his Achilles. Oh, he went to Germany. That's both his Achilles. I mean, how worried should we be?
Well, he doesn't have any more legs left to get hurt, so maybe that's the one thing you can take solace in. But you're right. It's not great. It's really not great for the 49ers. He's an older running back. He's got a ton of tread on his tire. He led the league in touches last year. He had like 400 touches, and I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think that's the exact number, believe it or not.
Wow.
So he has had a lot of the load for the 49ers offense. And the way I'm looking at it, and I'm not a doctor, certainly don't have any inside information here, but I just think that considering the injury and the nature of the injury, how it can flare up at any time, if you get anything out of Christian McCaffrey this year, I think you have to consider it a bonus. I just don't know that even if he can come back, can he come back and play game after game, or is it going to be a thing where he comes in and then it flares up again, so he's got to rest it more? It's not a very good situation. And the other part of it is this. The prescription for this injury is rest. And that is the one thing that Christian McCaffrey is not good at. He wants to do everything he can to get back. It's very difficult for him to do nothing, so to speak. That's why he traveled to Germany to get treatment, because he has a very difficult time just sort of sitting around and letting him heal. So it's definitely a tricky situation.
Hey, Rob, with that being said, his understudy, his fill-in, J.P. Mason, has been doing a hell of a job. How do you view Mason? And, when you look at I think he's on an 1,800-yard pace or something crazy it is. What do you make of JP and his ability to fill in there?
He has been such a welcome, I don't want to say surprise, because 49er fans have been kind of seeing this in very, very limited spots for the past couple seasons. But the fact that he's been able to do what we saw in brief flashes to this scale at this point in the season, he has single-handedly elevated this offense because Christian McCaffrey did a lot, we know, but Jordan Mason has come in, and at least from a running back perspective on the ground, not really through the air, but on the ground, he has completely picked up the slack. He is an absolute sledgehammer for this offense. He always gets more yards that are blocked for. He's always falling forward, and he has helped them stay ahead of the chains, and he's a big part of the reason that Brock Purdy has had the success he has had this year as well.
Rob is a great follow on Twitter. You may already know that, at Stats on Fire. And just checking your Twitter timeline here, you had some interesting thoughts, Rob, on Kyle Shanahan and how he's been more likely apparently to go for it on fourth down so far this year. I say apparently because it's small sample size. You like that in general, right? You want Kyle to do that more.
Yes, I don't know if he was replaced with a pod person this year or what, because he has been the complete opposite before this year. But I think really what it is that Kyle realizes that this is now an offensive team first and foremost, that the offense is going to have to be the unit that takes control of the game and, more importantly, closes the game out. It's, he used to love to just kick a field goal and let the defense go out and stop the other team. They don't have that good of a defense this year. It's just not the same as it was. So I think Kyle realizes he's got to score as many times as possible, and his offense has to be the driver of this team, and that means going for it more on fourth down.
I hear that, and I wanted to focus on defense because, we know the injuries are piling up there. No Hargrave. Do they have a replacement in-house, do you think, or do you foresee them making some sort of move?
Well, I wouldn't put it past the 49ers to make some kind of move. They traded for Randy Gregory and Chase Young during last season because they knew they needed some reinforcements on the defensive line. That's not what they want to do, but I think they may have to. I know they pressured Jacoby Brissett a lot again last week, but the Patriots' offensive line is a dumpster fire right now, so you can't really take anything away from that. They've been moving Yetur Gross-Matos on the inside. I guess that can help. Jordan Elliott is a defensive tackle there. He's played well, but he's also banged up, as you mentioned. So I would not be stunned at all if the 49ers made some sort of move for another defensive lineman. I don't know that it's going to be, a blockbuster trade like the Chase Young thing was last year, but I don't think John Lynch is just going to sit on his hands.
Hey, Hassan Ridgeway is available, right? He's
Hassan Reddick, who? Well, Ridgeway is a free agent.
He's free agent.
Oh, you look, I see,
yeah. So, he was here before. Rob, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm just wondering, there's been so many things written about the 49ers, and some of them get a little ridiculous. They lose a game and the sky is falling and so on. But what is the dumbest story or storyline you've heard from anybody so far this year on the 49ers? Would it be, short skate, or is there something else?
Short skate is, man, that's frustrating, but it's more frustrating for Brandon Ayuk. Like, dude, what are you doing? It's not like you're going to sneak it past anybody. But I honestly, the narrative that I see when I do shows from fans, especially after the 49ers lose, is fire Kyle Shanahan. He doesn't know how to call plays anymore. And I think that is just absurd. This team is second in the NFL right now in explosive plays. Second in the entire league with no Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel's been banged up and out of the lineup. George Kittle's been banged up and out of the lineup. Yet the 49ers are still right there. They're still scoring 24 points per game, even with all those absences. So that to me is probably the most ridiculous thing, that every time the 49ers lose, we have to fire Kyle Shanahan.
Hey, but hold up now, Rob. At least we aren't on the roller coaster known as Brock Purdy anymore. Like, the doubters, the haters, they've been quiet all season, right?
How could you not? I mean, what does he have to do left to prove it to you? I mean, first of all, the man left the field 3 times in the fourth quarter and overtime of the Super Bowl, and every time he left the field, he gave his team the lead. I know they didn't win the game, but it wasn't his fault, okay? Then he comes out this season with all those injuries like I talked about, and he doesn't throw the short passes that everybody thinks he does, even though he never really did. Brock is chucking the ball down the field. He has more deep passing yardage than anybody else in the league this season by almost 300 yards to this point. He's turning Jawan Jennings into a freaking superstar this year. I don't get it. I know he was drafted last. You got to get over that, man. Look at what he has done. And what he has done to this point, he has just gotten better and better and better every year he has played.
Rob Stats Guerrara. Nobody who covers the 49ers quite like him. Rob, thank you so much for your time. We always enjoy it. Insightful, humorous. We appreciate it. We hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
All right, Rob.
When we come back, what DeMar DeRozan had to say today about the Kings and his prediction of them ending up in the Western Conference Finals. That's coming up on Sactown Sports.
Don't let summer energy